A special presentation on what the way forward is for the Indian team, especially in Test cricket. Sourav Ganguly, former India captain, Boria Majumdar consulting editor, India Today deputy editor Kunal Pradhan with us on the show. Dada, you talked about Dhoni needing help. It's clearly not coming from any clear quarters for him right now. What would be your help, your advice to Mahendra Singh Dhoni, given that you accepted there are no options for him in bowling, batting is young, conditions are difficult. What should he do?
No, I've got three or four suggestions for Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Number one, he should find two good spinners in his squad in all conditions. At the present moment, with all due respect to Ravindra Jadeja, he doesn't have the skill to bowl on good wickets. Yes, bowling on square turners are completely different and bowling on good wickets are completely different. That's one. Number two, when he goes overseas, he has to go and play 2 or 3 warm-up games before the start of the first test match or the first one-day international. Then the warm-up games can reduce and he can play back-to-back international matches, because if you lose the first 2 or 3 games, then you're already down the slide and it's very difficult to get back. India might as well practice one day before a home series and play a test match or a one-day game. I know the itinerary is tough, there's a lot of cricket, so I think they need to balance it out properly, give more time for preparation overseas and give less time for preparation when they play at home. That's number 2. And number 3, he has to take a lot more risk. He has to go into this habit of batting first in overseas conditions. So he has to back some aspect of his team. If he feels the bowling is weak, back the batting. Put the batting under pressure and make sure you put runs up on the board and put the opposition under pressure. He has to be, and number 4, he has to be a lot more attacking as captain overseas. Yes. India were 250 runs ahead in Wellington and Brendan McCullum was batting on 150. I know he's batting on 150, but it was that point of the game where you needed 1 wicket. And I still remember that outside edge of Ishant Sharma when it flew past Shikhar Dhawan in the second slip, and he had 1 slip in New Zealand conditions. I can understand 1 slip in Indian conditions, but not 1 slip in New Zealand conditions. Right. We will have to keep supporting this team. It's a young team. I think the batting is good enough. It's a good batting side and I see the batting side taking Indian cricket forward. But what you need is positive captaincy, risk, and make sure you prepare well. Right. We'll take that comment, Dada, about Dhoni's captaincy and how negative it is sometimes, passive almost it is sometimes. We'll take that up, but we also have a caller on our show. Arijit is calling from Mumbai. Arijit, give us your pointed question for Sourav Ganguly. Yeah, my question to Mr. Ganguly is that Dhoni was quite unsuccessful in the ODI series in the Southern Hemisphere. Two consecutive ODI series in the Southern Hemisphere. How can we expect him to be successful in the next World Cup, which is also being conducted in the Southern Hemisphere? All right, let me take that to Sourav Ganguly. Dada, it's not just about Test cricket, isn't it? We've not really done well, even in one-days. We've lost the last few series, and Boria has already mentioned about other events as well. How can we have confidence in MS Dhoni in the shorter format as well? It's a very pertinent question. I think we've got to back him because he's the best bet in one-day cricket. As a player in one-day cricket, he's by far the best in this team, and I think he's had successes in one-day cricket, winning in England, winning in the West Indies recently. So he's had successes. It's not like the Test cricket where he's just kept going down and down and down. And he talks about Southern Hemisphere. You know, remember in 2009, India went and won in New Zealand. So yes, it's not the end of everything. I know it's 2014, 5 years down the line, but nothing stops them from winning. But once again, as I say, they'll have to prepare well and they will have to take a few more risks. At the present moment, they are too defensive. You cannot have 9 innings of a series where all the time you won the toss and fielded first. There cannot be anything more defensive than that. I hope MS Dhoni is listening, or somebody will pass on that message to him from Sourav Ganguly. Ashok is calling us from Trichy. Ashok, go ahead. Quickly give us your question. Hello, Dada. My question is for you, Dada. Yeah, go ahead. Should India continue with Dhawan and Rohit for the Indian and Australia tour, or should Sehwag and Gambhir be brought in, irrespective of the Ranji performance? Do you think Sehwag should be brought into the Indian team? All right, Dada, you've been a supporter of some of our veterans who've been shown the door, especially Sehwag and Zahir and others. Even Harbhajan, you feel, can come back. What about Sehwag and Gambhir as openers? No, I think Shikhar Dhawan has to play. He's had an outstanding series in New Zealand, and look at the way he batted in these 2 test matches. I don't think Shikhar Dhawan, can anyone think about replacing Shikhar Dhawan? I think these 2 test innings will make him a far better player once he gets back from New Zealand. In terms of Rohit Sharma, yes, there is inconsistency. I still have a place for Virendra Sehwag, because when you average almost 15 test cricket, you cannot be a poor player. And sometimes with all these top class players, first class cricket is not the place where you have to prove. So I think there needs to be better communication with Virendra Sehwag. But in terms of Shikhar Dhawan and Rohit Sharma, I think both should be a part of this side.
Yes, we'll talk about the batting again in just a bit. Let's take one of our final callers. Shyam Sundar is calling us from Bangalore. Go ahead, sir.
Is this a right decision to make Rahul Dravid as a batting coach?
Oh, Rahul Dravid as the batting coach, Dada, you will back that? Or yourself maybe to mentor the Indian team?
No, why not Rahul Dravid? Because I think he's been a champion, he's been a master player. But who will ask Rahul Dravid to be on the road for 9 months a year? If you can do it, Rahul Dravid for sure.
Okay, Sandesh from Mysore, our final caller. Sandesh, go ahead very quickly.
My question is to Dada, that how can the overseas condition can be dealt with the spinning option available currently in India other than Jadeja and Ashwin?
Well, I think Dada has already answered that question about the spin bowling. Dada, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I would just say I think Pragyan Ojha must play in Test cricket. I think he's a fantastic left-arm spinner, and I just get surprised why he doesn't play in Test matches overseas. You look at Mumbai against the West Indies. First day of the Test on a good pitch, he got 5 wickets. Ashwin came and got 5 wickets in the second innings, but on a good batting surface on day 1, he picked 5 wickets. I think the selectors will have to keep an eye on all this when they pick the squad overseas. I think both Harbhajan Singh and Pragyan Ojha needs to be a part of this Test team and the one-day team as well.
Right, Pragyan Ojha hasn't played a Test abroad since 2010. Nobody really knows why. But Kunal, what about the Indian bowling? Is this the bowling that we can have faith, even let's say 6 months down the line, to go and take 20 wickets to win a match?
See, Shivani, as of now, the bowling is not looking like the attack that India needs. And, I'll give you an example. In the second innings when New Zealand's got 680 runs, Zahir took 5 wickets for 170. Now, we were sniggering at the fact that he gave away 170 runs, but you have to accept the fact that 170 divided by 5 is Zahir's international Test average. Yeah? Now, when Zahir was at Saurav's disposal, for example, he was not the principal bowler of his team. There was Kumble and there was Srinath, but he was still a very important member of that team.
Yeah.
Now we have been reduced to a position where he is the sole leader of this bowling attack. He's come back into the team because of that. And I think we really need to find bowling resources to surround him with. And most importantly, a spinner. The moment Ravindra Jadeja starts becoming your principal spinner in a test match, you know that there is trouble. But I just want to pick up on something that Saurav said just now about Pragyan Ojha having to play. See, I think, when Dhoni started as captain, there was always this conversation on how he has the Midas touch. That whatever he does turns to gold. And, it's something that I had seen with Saurav when he was captain. The captain of the Indian team needs to behave as a leader of Indian cricket. There needs to be some scouting that needs to be done on his own. Saurav famously, supported players who nobody wanted to back. He fought with selectors for them because there was something about them that, his gut, he felt that, these are the players who are going to lead us to the future.
But Dhoni has backed players too.
No, he has backed players too. But, I just think, I just keep coming back to this. There is no question in my mind that he's the best choice. There is no question in my mind that we don't have any other option. But it just keeps coming back to, I just don't feel this burning passion for our performance in Test cricket anymore. It's just something that we have to do. When we do badly, we feel bad. There are times when we do well. But how the team gets built with you thinking constantly about what elements to add, what to take away. It's astonishing to me, for example, that Indian cricket has allowed Virendra Sehwag to be treated the way he's been treated. You can say ad nauseum that he's not performing in domestic cricket. But if you could show the kind of respect you have shown to people like Sourav, Dravid, Lakshman, Sachin, most importantly, there is really no reason why somebody like Sehwag
So it's
should
bad
not
player
be
management,
treated-
you're saying, at
It's
one
bad-
level by BCCI itself.
and not proper team building.
Team building.
Like
let me
builds a
take
team.
that to Boria also. Boria, is this a generational problem that we just don't have that many players who care that much about Test cricket and its results?
It's a very important point he's making, that I have one disagreement, but I agree with him largely. The disagreement is, I don't think even Sourav was treated fairly. I know with Sourav on the show, it's perhaps not right to say. In 2008, he had a couple of years of Test cricket left in him. I mean, you ask him to be honest, he has to say that. When he was forced to retire, yesterday he said on the show, when he was replaced in 2005 with somebody called Tejinder Pal Singh, he was the fastest to 9,000 runs. Is that the way to treat your players? No. See, Sourav, to his credit, got a Virendra Sehwag, got a Harbhajan Singh, got a Zahir Khan, and mentored them and made them into quality Test cricketers. You know, for me, the problem, and that Kunal alluded to, and I agree, is the point is we lose in England, we lose in Australia, so what? We've got the 50 over World Cup. Usme jeet jayenge, problem sorted.
Exactly.
You know, that is not the issue. The issue is we've lost in New Zealand, take it as a loss in New Zealand. We've lost in South Africa, let's try and remedy that. Don't tell me I will win the Asia Cup in the subcontinent and everything is hunky-dory.
All right,
that
Boria,
for me is the solution that Indian cricket is after.
All right, let me take our final caller joining us from Chennai. Sir, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Tirumurthy. My question is to any of the panel members. I don't know if the comparison is correct. Look at the coaches in the United States coaching the NBA athletes. See how they build up the aggression in the players. They'll scold, they'll run down the players, they'll pump up aggression. I see a lot of negative body language in Indian bowlers in particular. Why is it that our coaches cannot handle our bowlers in such a way that our bowlers get up and really bowl? If our bowlers and team members are holy cows, whom the coaches cannot scold and run down, what's the problem?
Well, many would say cricket is a sport where coaches and, you know, it's not the same where they are on the sidelines, they work from behind. Gary Kirsten did that. He worked beautifully at that. But Dada, is there a difference of coaching that we need to employ as well? Clearly, Duncan Fletcher is not working.
Yeah, let's be honest, Duncan Fletcher has struggled. I heard our friend on the phone trying to speak about NBA where people running into the ground. I think that's not possible in cricket. Chennai Super Kings does, or all other IPL teams do when they sit next to the ground in the dugout and they're jumping up and down. But that's not possible in Test cricket. I think Duncan Fletcher needs to be a lot more involved. If you watch South Africa, if you watch Alan Donald, he's the bowling coach of South Africa, he'll walk around the boundary line talking to Dale Steyn, talking to Moni Morkel at times, but I don't see Joe Doss doing it. I don't see Duncan Fletcher doing it, because at times, as I said, Mahendra Singh Dhoni needs help on the ground. You can have a whole lot of team meetings, you can decide a whole lot of decisions off the field, but once you get on the field, the situations force you to take different calls and different decisions. I think Duncan has to be a lot more proactive, and Duncan needs to make the difference. At the present moment, Duncan is too far behind. I think he's started to believe on the policy that if I keep quiet, things will fall into place. But I think time has come for him to realize that if he wins, everything will fall into place a lot quicker.
Yeah, I think you couldn't have said it better, Dada. I think that is what we need right now from our support staff. Don't just sit quietly. You don't have to show in public that you're working, but get us the results.
See, there's one word which defines sport, and that is performance. Whoever you are, however big you are, unless you perform, you have to go. Perhaps not Dhoni, as Sourav said, but definitely Duncan and Joe Doss. If you don't perform, I don't care who you are, you've got to make way.
Dada?
I think they have to plan better. They have to make sure they get the right squad and pick players on talent.
Kunal, final word to you.
See, I think once we have the team, we have to believe in it. There is no question that these guys are talented, they're young, they're going to get better. But I would just like to appeal to the BCCI and to the system that, you know, please, when we lose series like this, let us hurt. Don't tell us that, you know, it's fine. This is important cricket. This is the most important cricket. And, you know, please stop this IPLization of Indian cricket, where only what happens there is important and everything else, you know, you try and tell us that it's okay, we'll get over it, etc., etc. Let the players hurt, let us hurt, and, you know, let us build a team for Test cricket.
Let's care for Test cricket.
Very well said.
My final word,
Very well
we are
said.
number 2 in the world. Let's behave like it. Let's earn that spot, and perhaps higher than that as well. Sourav Ganguly, Kunal Pradhan, Boria Majumdar, thanks a lot for joining us. And thanks to our viewers who called in, and thanks to all of you for watching. Goodbye.